Responding to Tragedy in the Elementary Classroom. This topic falls under the National Council of Social Studies theme number 3 for people, places, and environments. The first thing that we want to do is ask ourselves, how can we as teachers help our students when catastrophe strikes? What are some of the tools that we can use? Because generally, this topic is not one that is, in my opinion, covered and talked about enough, and teachers are very rarely trained in this particular skill. So what can we do? The first step we want to take is to remind parents and teachers to eliminate or severely limit and supervise exposure to mass media, especially television. Now, we want to do this because the media is not concerned with the needs of children the majority of the time. So they are much more concerned with getting views and trying to get you to watch their broadcast as opposed to someone else's broadcast. So they may, in fact, use fear tactics in order to get you to watch. So we don't want to leave the television on so that children can see just anything pop up, particularly in live feeds. I remember during Hurricane Katrina, there were live feeds of people who had passed away floating in the waters, in the flood waters, and we don't want children to see things like this. We want to give them the opportunity to learn about these catastrophes, these tragedies, in an age-appropriate way. Number 2, check with families to see how and if they may have been personally affected by the tragedy. By simply checking with families, we can not only find out what their specific needs are, we can also simply reach out to let them know that we care. Number 3, and this one's probably one of the more important ones, is to listen to children, especially at less structured times. What we know about children's social emotional skills tells us that when children are not in structured play time, or when they are not in structured instructional time, they're much more likely to process what they're actually feeling and express what they're actually thinking, particularly if they think you're not listening. So this is a really good, not only a good assessment tool in and out of the topics of tragedy, but we can better meet the needs of our students if we really listen to what they're actually saying. Number 4, help them to identify their feelings, concerns, and questions. We want to do this because while it does seem like a simple idea, it's actually a very powerful social emotional skill to be able to teach the idea of what children are feeling and put a label on that feeling, right? So if we have children who are acting out in class, we may want to approach that child and say, you may be feeling frustrated because, you've been living in a hotel because of the winter storms last week. You may be feeling a little confused. You may be feeling a little angry or sad. Tell me what you think you might be feeling. And then you can confirm or help them guide themselves towards the proper identification of feelings. Number 5, allow for spontaneous connections, even if they seem completely out of context. We want to do this because children are just trying to make sense of what they've been through or what they've witnessed. So we want to give them the opportunity to make spontaneous connections because their brain is simply trying to make sense of it. Number 6, and for the same reason that we want to eliminate or lessen the amount of media exposure, we also want to clarify misinformation and discredit or discourage rumors. We all know the power of misinformation and the kind of effects that it has on adults. So we want to also remember that it's important for children to not operate off of misinformation or rumors. We want to make sure that they have factual information that they can operate off of. And it also mitigates some of the fear that they may be experiencing or confusion. Number 7, focus on those who survived. Simply put, this step allows children to hold on to hope that even when tragedies happen, we move forward. There's always hope. Number 8, and this one's probably my favorite step. Brainstorm with children ways to take action to help survivors. This allows children to have a sense of agency. And what that means is that even when terrible things happen or really difficult things happen in a child's life, they can learn that they are capable of impacting change. They can learn that they are capable of problem solving. So responding to tragedy number 8 is make sure that the children understand that even when bad things happen, there are ways for us to help. There are ways for us to solve problems.
We're taking up the call for humanitarian relief as well, some of them in our area by simply taking up the collection jar. Action News reporter Christy Aletto is live in Old City tonight with some of the ways Delaware Valley residents are trying to help out. Christy.
Well, Rick, many people are collecting canned goods and toiletries, other donations in the form of a lemonade stand. Yes, help is coming from a 5-year-old donning a Texans hat and a Superman cape.
Here you go, buddy. I don't need anything. I just want to make a donation.
He's 5 and open for business.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
What are you doing today?
Doing a lemonade and sweet tea stand.
For what?
Texas.
His sign reads 50 cents a cup to help those affected by Hurricane Harvey, a storm that's hit home for this Houstonian now living in Old City.
Jet was a little concerned the past few days. And, you know, his grandparents, we've been able to talk to them, luckily. So we were just trying to think of things we could do to help.
Yeah.
And we feel so far away.
No, you can take it off. No change.
And his mission to help has others going out of their way to step up too.
Thank you, ma'am.
To see these young men take his love of wanting to help somebody to this magnitude, that's amazing. That fills you with hope.
Number 9, focus on those who help and stories of hope, because this is a very good model for how we can help those who survive tragedies. Now, I don't know how many people know what this is a picture of, but it is actually from Hurricane Harvey. It's the Cajun Navy. They were driving to come, just regular citizens who decided to band together to help people in need and evacuate from their homes. So tell the stories of people who help. Number 10, for the same reason we ask families if they have been affected by tragedy, we can simply reach out in friendship and sympathy to comfort others. And there's really a two-way street to this step, because number 1, we're learning empathy, we're learning that social emotional skill, and we're also offering emotional support to those who actually have been through these kinds of tragedies. So reach out in friendship and sympathy to comfort others. And number 11, this one is probably one of the most important, and all children need this. Assure children of their safety. Even if what we're saying isn't always 100% true, that we are keeping children, there's no matter what, we're going to make sure that you're safe. Children have to feel safe in order to learn. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, as we all know, taught us that one of the most basic needs for all of us is the need to feel secure. We must feel safe before we can actually really learn anything. And lastly, responding to tragedy number 12. In cases of natural disasters, we want to offer our students realistic assurances of their safety. And what I mean by this is letting them know that if they are fearful of various natural disasters, that what we can do to be prepared for them, in fact, will help keep us safe. And it will help us maintain that sense of security and safety.